Hello, listeners. My name is Cliff Ratza. I'm the author of two ongoing series of novels, the Lightning Brain series and its sequel, the Keeper series. And in addition to being an author and a writing coach, I teach at universities and have a consulting business. If you would like to learn more about me, my books, and my writing coach activities, please contact Prime Solutions via the lightningbrainseries.com website. I try to make videos that I think authors and writers and most people might enjoy listening to. My latest string of videos centers on the Ukrainian invasion, as does this one too. And here's the title: POVs Coming Out of the Ukrainian Invasion. Simple Scholar Comparative Points of View. So who's the Simple Scholar? That's my very own label for myself. And please remember that in all my podcasts, I'm collecting, comparing, and contrasting POVs from the acclaimed experts, a group that does not include me. My POVs don't matter, but my podcasts can add value for you by presenting some POVs from subject matter experts. Now, I mentioned in a previous podcast the American philosopher Thomas Nagel's article, "What is it like to be a bat?" And in it, he says it's impossible for one species to understand the POV of another species because they have different languages. And yes, all organisms have the same form of language. But we humans are all from the same species, so we should be able to understand one another's points of view. Well, a day or so ago, after a journalist completed an interview with a Ukrainian mother, the journalist said that he couldn't appreciate what she was going through. In other words, the reporter felt that the mother's predicament was beyond the reporter's point of view. Would you agree with that? Well, psychologists and neuroscientists would say that the empathy most humans have lets them feel another person's point of view. That's why we all feel so much compassion for the Ukrainian people. Yesterday morning, I listened to a reporter interview the Ukrainian foreign minister. When the reporter asked if the foreign minister understood that from NATO's point of view, NATO must take a go-slow approach to putting in place a no-fly zone or giving the Ukrainian military jets and Javelin rocket launchers and Stingers. He said that the go-slow approach was necessary because there was danger. If they went too fast, it might cause an escalation to all-out war between Russia and NATO. The minister said that of course he understood, but from the minister's point of view, Russia is destroying his country, and by the time NATO acts, Putin's tanks and artillery and missiles will have reduced Ukraine's cities to rubble. If you were a Ukrainian citizen, what would you say? However, a subsequent interview with a United States senator elaborated the U.S. NATO point of view this way. He compared it to watching two people fighting. You might like one side more than the other, but you've made no commitment to step in if both sides have a fighting chance, and if your intervention could spin the fight out of control. So, if the West keeps supplying tank-busting and aircraft-killing weapons to Ukrainians' super-motivated fighters, they might be able to fight Russia to a standstill. And he thought that the cost to Russia will continue escalating to the point where if Putin doesn't pull out, Putin's billionaire backers might pull the plug on him. History lessons say that that might be more likely than a Russian-wide citizen protest or insurrection. But either way, the world wants Putin to stop before Putin levels Ukrainian cities and kills hundreds or even thousands of civilians. And I heard, I came across articles and video interviews today, actually it was yesterday, that gave expert POVs dealing with a variety of topics. Regarding economics, a former Secretary of the Treasury said that NATO, led by U.S. intervention, is winning the economic war. The West put sanctions in place that are crippling the Russian economy. And I came across a Wall Street Journal article titled, "The Other War Russia is Waging Against the Ukraine." From the point of view of internet security, we already know that Russia started previous cyberspace wars against other countries. And there's plenty of evidence that Russia has attacked Ukrainian computer systems with Russian malware dubbed Hermetic Wizard that wipes out all the data. Will Russia escalate to a nuclear cyber war in which it attacks computer systems of major corporations and government infrastructures, like bringing down a city's electrical grid? The article made no predictions other than to say that the possibility did exist. And a news interview I heard recently said that from the point of view of Russian journalists, Putin has killed all Russian news media. A censorship bill he just pushed through criminalizes fake news. And what is fake news? Well, it's any story that disputes what Putin says. And two recent articles I found considered Putin's historicist point of view. The subject matter experts referenced in one of the articles said that two historicist blunders caused Ukrainian war. The SME says the invasion has become a war, not just an invasion. Well, the first is a blunder made by NATO, and it's the signed agreement between the United States and Ukraine supporting Ukraine's right to join NATO. NATO should have realized that Putin wouldn't stand for this, at least not at this time. By the way, historicism is an approach to explaining the existence of phenomena, especially social and cultural practices, by studying their history. That is, by studying the process by which they came about. The term is widely used in philosophy, anthropology, and sociology. The second blunder goes to Putin. He underestimated how fiercely the Ukrainian people and its military would fight, and how his cocksure behavior would repair any cracks in NATO solidarity. And I found more. Here's some info from the experts telling us about Putin's philosophical point of view. Putin despises democracy and what he considers Western decadence. He believes in the right of the leadership to impose the authority of the state on society and its people. He sees himself as a messiah, chosen to lead Russia to its destiny. And he runs the government like a court, ruthlessly getting rid of people who don't share his vision. And he is not a communist, but instead an anti-communist. He considers the Soviet period to be a rupture in Russia's path to greatness, a path paved by autocratic rulers, not communist tyranny. And he rejects the philosophical trajectory leading from Plato through Kant and Hegel and liberalism and the rejection of Marx to the postmodern relativism and balance found in philosophies of Isaiah Berlin, Alasdair MacIntyre, and Karl Popper's Open Society. He believes in the history of political power, not liberalism's end of history. And there are so many related videos you can find on YouTube. Please watch them if you have the time and interest. And I subscribe to magazines spanning from liberal to conservative, covering current events, science, and the arts. Among them are The New Yorker, The Atlantic, Harper's, Wired, and The Week. And let me end this video by summarizing an article telling why authors and writers remain so important. Their empathy lets them capture in words the human condition, that is, real life. And their challenge is to use the freedom of expressing their opinions and views, using as many points of view as needed to get readers as close as possible to the cognitive and emotional truth. And that's all I wish to say. So thank you for listening. Bye-bye and have a great day.